Welcome back to Living Grounded. You're here with Juliette and Lila today. Usually, we answer one of your questions every week in this podcast, but today we have something a little bit different. I'm gonna ask Juliette about her life and how she has seen God move in it. Yeah, excited to have you here.
Hey.
Could you quickly just introduce yourself, who you are, what you're doing?
My name's Juliette. I am currently a stay-at-home mum, with two little boys who are 3 and 1. And been committed really since it started. We were part of the launching. Um, Apology.
This is where we are right now. Did you grow up Christian? What did you believe as a kid?
So grew up in a Christian home. And I would say that I feel like obviously you have limited understanding at that age, but um just always had a concept of God and would pray from a young age, and mum and dad were always very, particularly mum was very just invested in our discipleship. So God was a big part of our life growing up.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Did that change at any point of you growing older, becoming an adult?
Yeah, I mean, it did, in that you grow and you I guess your understanding of God changes as you get older. And to me, I always think I had a strong foundation, and definitely felt like, I had a just belief that God was real from a young age. That carried through, but of course, with school, you just get more focused on yourself, focused on your identity and forming that, and that God is kind of, I never felt like, oh, he's not real, but he would be not as like I'm following him with my whole heart. He was more of on the side. Throughout, primary and high school and those years. And I guess high school, I went to I went to public primary school, which I felt like I was exposed to a lot from a young age. And then I went to a Christian high school, which was like quite charismatic Pentecostal Christian, which then exposed me to more like different Christianity and in good and bad ways. And so throughout high school, I feel like God was always around, in the high school. It wasn't just like it's a Christian high school. It was a part of everything. It was like bigger than our education. Our education was terrible in our school, but just our understanding of God was, he was talked about all the time, and we would have chapels and all of that. And so he was always there, but again, kind of, I guess, I would go in and out of like putting him first. But I remember, I think it must have been year 10. I felt really, like God was, I felt really scared that the devil was going to attack me for a long time. And I was really struggling with that, and just so much fear of demonic powers. And that was actually, I remember that was a big part of my journey in a way, because I just was so fearful. And mum and dad, hey, verses and everything, and I would pray all the time, just being so scared. That I remember, I feel like God saved me from that and taught me that I don't need to be greater is He that is in me than He in the world. And then coming out of that, I remember I felt stronger in my faith after that. And I got baptized in year 11, I think, beginning of year 11, and around there. And that was a real turning point for me.
What made you take that step of taking it more seriously?
I think mum and dad always encourage us to be baptized. But I think I think coming out of that season, and I just felt really like I was growing in my faith, and I just felt like it's time for me to make that declaration. And it was a really beautiful moment. It wasn't like, I think I really understood the gravity of it, and I was really felt changed after that. That being said, obviously, like, we still go through emotions, which is just big. But yeah, so I think that was a big turning point. In year 12, my sister and I decided to change churches from where we'd grown up.
Okay.
The church we'd grown up in was a Bible. It was a church from the States called Calvary Chapel.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it was big in the States,
Yeah.
particularly California. And then the pastor came over here and planted a church, and it was really good, very Bible based, but also charismatic. Not afraid of, I guess, the gifts of the Spirit and all of those things. So I feel like we had a good balance growing up. But as always, your parents' church, you're not paying as much attention, I think, just mom and dad's.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we decided to go to another church. And we went to City Light in Balmain. And that was a church plant that started that year that we joined. And I think from that point on, my faith really
How did changing churches impact your faith?
I think, I mean, we were just so lucky to have such gifted, like, there were two pastors that raised church, and they were both just so gifted at speaking. And I think it was just such a different way they presented. I remember just one sermon when I was there, and when we first started going, he was talking about just that idea of having your mindset on eternity, and that we're living for eternity with Jesus. And I just was like, I don't know, it just was so amazing to know that his life isn't it. And I think growing up, you just look at your parents and you think, oh yeah, you just go to school, you go to uni, get a job, get married, settle down, and that's life. But when I moved churches, it was like, oh, my life is about Jesus. It's about him. And
that makes a huge difference in the way you live your life, you plan your future and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that was a big shift for me. And I think it was just like, just really good preaching every week of knowing God and having that personal relationship with God. Like, I think that was big as well, that he is like a personal God that wants to know us and wants us to, it's a relationship, and that it's not just this head knowledge that you know, but it's something that you experience.
Yeah.
So that was big. And the community there was amazing. Obviously the church plant is just, everyone's keen to be around and get into it, and everyone just felt like we were doing it was just like felt like we were doing the walk together.
When and how did you come to Village then?
So then how do we come to Village? So after that I went to Bible college for a year after I did Union and met my husband James, and then we kept going to that church, but then that our church planted another church, and we joined that launch team. And that was really hard because that church fell apart basically after a year, and it wasn't like it just isn't working. It was such a really horrible way that it kind of ended. That really shook James and I guess thinking about our marriage, and we wanted it to be just not like about settling down, and we wanted to do mission and live for God together. And so we decided we didn't know what to do after that. I think we were a bit lost because we wanted to do the church plant and we were going to do it together.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened. Then we weren't sure what to do. Obviously, we were all locked in our homes. But then James decided to start a business down here. And so we just thought, oh well, we weren't as tied into a church that it would have been a hard decision. It was still hard, and I bawled my eyes out and I got out the front of church, and I was so upset to be leaving. But it just felt like it was a good time to do it. And then we met him and Aaliyah through James' brother Al, and they told us about the church plan, and we told them about our experiences, and they invited us into the launch team after being us. And
how was that when you were involved in the church plant that didn't work out, and then you were like starting that all over again.
Yeah.
There was probably some like tears in there.
Yeah, it was definitely hard. I think. Yeah, definitely, like you said, fears. You know, and I guess just takes so much doing a church plan and just joining an established church. But at the same time, I guess like we were used to it as well, so that was helpful and could know what the difficulties would be and all of that. Yeah.
How did you see God working in like planning a church in the last few years?
Yeah, I mean, he's just been so, like, just looking back on my journey, gracious and good and been working throughout the whole journey. But in terms of the church plan, I feel like it's been good for James and I even just to step up more and serving and just being invested in the community and seeing God just work through that and work through James and I. And it was hard going from a failed church plan. I think it made us wrestle with what is church and who is God in it. But I think God really with us. And a lot of our friends walked away from the faith, and I think he just kept us and has really grown us in a way. And I guess I would say he's grown. It's just shown us like just that he's so consistent and loving, even though he is so simple, and that he still works through it.
That's great. Yeah. You said that you were going to Bible school. What made you do that? And how did that impact your faith?
So I did a year of uni doing social work. And I think I was just like, obviously social work is, I would say, comes from the Christian faith. From, just doing that is from Jesus.
Loving people.
Yeah, having people, loving the poor. It's like throughout the Bible. And then going to a secular uni, so not the way of Jesus. I mean, there were things that were, of course, like just even the concept of loving the poor is from him. But I think, yeah, just was confused about how do I do this. Like I just wanted to live for Jesus, really, and I was really passionate, and so I wanted to go to Bible college. And I was going to go overseas to YWAM in Mexico. But then my pastor at the time, he encouraged me. He told me about the bridge at SMBC, and so maybe I'll do that. Yeah.
Was there anything challenging in going to Bible school? Or
Yes, it was so good. Like because the Bible school that I went to was very world mission, and so just opening up my eyes to what God was doing around the world was just passionate, and then learning so much about the Bible. Yeah, I think but there were challenging things about it, and you group together with people that you wouldn't usually be grouped together with, but I really grew that year, and I think God, I was just so passionate and on fire, but I feel like God showed me, but I think part of me was also really desperate to please God and to do the right thing, and I guess a bit maybe black and white in some ways of like maybe not very in my passion. I wasn't very sometimes compassionate, I think. And there's so much good that is in the passion, but also I think God really tamed me and brought me just through different things that showed me that life is just that he is complex, I guess. And he's not black and white, and that he can work in so many situations. Because I really thought I was going to be on mission, I was going to be single, I didn't think my life would go the way that it went. I feel like God's really shown me that he's in everything. He's not just on the mission field overseas or in ministry in church. Like he's everywhere, and he can use me.
Yeah. And now you're currently at home raising two Lovely boys.
Yeah.
What has that been like? That's a very different season of life than being in ministry. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it's been really, really has changed me. And probably the biggest thing in this season I feel like God is teaching me is just that verse where he says, even though he was in the form of God, did not count equality with God as something to be grasped, but humbled himself to the point of death, even death on a cross. And I think that has just been the verse that keeps mine. Motherhood in its beauty and in its hard times, which is hard. That is the verse that God reminds me of because I think he's really grown me in humility and laying my lives down for others. And yeah, I love it. It's beautiful, and my boys, I love them so much. I just can't wait to teach them more about God and all of that. But it is really hard, and I think it's hard to let go of. Yeah, I think I wrestle with what does God have for me in a season, and it's just a lot with motherhood that comes with it. But it's definitely teaches you a lot about God's yeah.
In the busyness of life, how do you keep your eyes fixed on Jesus just in the day-to-day life? Because we had Bible study together yesterday and we talked about how easy it is to just not pray because everything's so hectic, or not read your Bible because it's so chaotic. But yeah, what do you do to just keep that just in the center of your life?
Yeah. It's definitely become harder sometimes too. Because it's not that easy to have which of that it's necessary I think, to have quiet with God. But I think you can always find time in those still little moments. And for me, I often try and spend time when they're sleeping in the middle of the day, even though that's really hard sometimes because I have got a to-do list I have to get through. But I try to keep that. I wake up like they are. Yes. That I spend time with him in the middle of the day. And there's been something so beautiful about that in that. You know, sometimes in the morning it can feel like a rush because the whole day ahead of you, or night you're just really tired. But in the middle of the day, it's like this stopping and just reminding yourself that he is in control of your day, really. And yes, that's been good. But also I got just like getting little devotionals that help you, you know, read the Bible instead of just like sometimes in the morning if I have time it's like hard to just be like, where do I go in the Bible? It feels overwhelming, but having something that I can just go to that helps me center my mind on.
Yeah.
And then just trying to be constant.
Yeah. What would you say to the person who kind of feels like God is really far away right now?
I would say that I guess that we will go through seasons feeling far, but that doesn't change faithfulness and us love, and that he's always there waiting for us. Yeah, just it reminds me of that kids book I love so much, the Punchinello one. And it's a story about a wooden creature that this maker has made, Eli, and they're all just going around giving each other stars and dots, and I'm so confused. And then he meets someone who doesn't have any stars and dots, and she says, I go see Eli every day. Anyway, and so he eventually goes and sees Eli, and Eli, representing God, is like so happy to see him, walks in and is like, I've been waiting for you. And just that idea that even when he feels far, he's always waiting for us to touch him. And he does promise that he will fill us up with springs of water welling up to eternal life. I guess I just encourage you to keep drawing you.
Yeah. He says, draw near to me and I will draw close to you. And that's so true. Yeah. Is there anything else that you would want to share? Anything that God's currently teaching you? Already talked about.
Yeah, just like the humility and I think just, and I shared this last night in Bible study,
Mhm.
but just that God is just I guess he's just really teaching me about his love, and that he is a self-sacrificing God who, yeah, just reminding me of the cross and what that means in terms of his love, and
Mhm.
that's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Which he's always teaching me, just reminding me that
Uh-huh.
he is not angry or disappointed with me or mad at me.
Mhm.
He just loves me and wants me to draw near to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I feel like we can always learn more and grasp more of the sacrifice that He's made for us, and we'll never fully understand it
Yes.
until one day we'll be together with Him,
Yeah.
and then we will be just in awe and
Yeah.
wonder. And we're still going through Leviticus when we're recording this, and like seeing the sacrifices there, and then Jesus' sacrifice and how that is like, yeah, has so much weight and it's so beautiful, but also so hard to grasp. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing with us. That was really encouraging. You guys can keep sending in your questions and then we'll respond to them in the next few episodes. But yeah, feel free to like share your story and how you've experienced God throughout this week with your friends in your Bible study. Always really encouraging to just hear from each other. And yeah, have a good week and see you next time. Bye.